go to lay on your yoga mat. I'm gonna take my yoga blanket and I'm gonna roll it up like such, so it's in a roll. And I know we've started the last couple of weeks kind of in the same fashion, but I have a plan. So, go ahead and, yay, Wednesdays. Thanks, Tempe. All right, so you're gonna take the blanket or whatever your prop is, put it under the bottom tips of your shoulder blades. Press into your feet so you can move your body back towards the top edge of your yoga mat. Let your arms splay out to the side. So not quite a wide T shape. My arms are a little bit lower. And if you want to straighten out the legs, you can do that. And start to feel your body here. Let the head settle. Notice if you have a tendency to let the chin look back towards your eyes. Try to keep the chin straight down above the throat, so your neck is in neutral. Feel how your back muscles interact with the prop underneath you. If you like arms here, you can keep arms here. If you like, you can stretch them up overhead so that your knuckles rest on the ground behind you. All right, from here, you're going to start to roll onto your left hip. Bend the left knee, extend the right leg straight. And you can let your left arm stretch straight overhead. So my left ear is resting on my left arm. Feel your breath. It's a little bit of a side body stretch. If you like, you can take the right arm overhead as well. Notice how your body's feeling here. Immediately, if there's any tight or open spots. And go ahead, bring the right arm down, slowly roll back onto your back for a moment. Wiggle around so that blanket is just under the bottom tips of your shoulder blades. And then with knees bent, start to turn to your right. Stretch your right arm overhead so your right ear can rest on the right arm. Left leg extends and stretch your left arm up overhead if you like. If the blanket's pressing directly into your rib cage, you can slither your body down a little bit. And notice again where your head goes in space. Does the chin want to dip in towards the neck or flip back towards the wall behind you? Can you keep it in neutral? And slowly bend both knees. Bring your left hand down to the yoga mat and use that to press yourself up so you can come to seated. Crossing one shin in front of the other. Feel crown of the head stacked over the shoulders, stacked over the hips. And we'll do eagle arms. So go right under left. Options, you can bring hands to shoulders. You can bring backs of the hands to touch. Or you can do that double wrap where your palms cross. And then just start to circle the elbows around wherever you are. Moving a couple of times in one direction. Gentle with the shoulders. And then in the opposite direction. And then release the arms down. So left hand to left knee. Right, no, let's switch that. Let's do left hand to right knee, right hand to left knee. So you're crisscross. And then some seated cat-cows from here. So round back. And then open up on the inhale. Or reverse if you like. So starting to get some waves in the spine. And then go ahead, come back to neutral, switch the cross of your legs. And eagle arms, so this time left under right. Hands can come to the shoulders, backs of the hands to touch, double wrap, and just start to move shoulders and elbows around in one direction. And the other direction. And then go ahead, cross left hand to right knee, right hand to left knee, round back, navel back, and then chest broad, shoulder blades together. So seated cat-cows with little arm twists. And then go ahead, come to neutral. Stretch the arms behind you. I'm going to turn on my side just so you can see. Plant the palms, press into the feet, tabletop pose, hips lift up. We'll do this again during class so that this isn't your biggest tabletop pose of the class. Don't worry about it. Neck goes where it's comfortable. And then go ahead, lower down. And roll over the knees. Go ahead, come to hands and knees. So we already did some seated cat-cows. Now we're going to do a little bit of shoulder flossing. So keep the navel lifted up towards the spine. So you're staying in neutral. And then on your inhale, squeeze your shoulder blades together on your back. So it's like you're trying to grab a pencil back there between your shoulder blades. And then on your next breath, just let the shoulder blades separate. You can press into your hands and round the upper back a little bit. So squeezing in and moving away. I'll go up towards the camera so you can kind of see what it would look like from a bird's eye view. Is you would be retracting, squeezing in, and then letting the shoulder blades move away. So retracting, protracting. And then from there, stabilize the shoulders, keep them still, and then just let the hips sway around a little bit. So making some small hip circles, but trying to keep the arms pretty straight. And then in the opposite direction. I feel like I've been living on my yoga mat at home and there's so much blanket fuzz from all these living room yoga practices. Downward facing dog as you're ready. And a couple of times, let's move from down dog to plank. So come to your plank pose, knees can come down if you like. Shoulders stacked over the wrists, heels stacked over the balls of the feet, and then just lift the hips up to downward facing dog. A couple of times, forward and back. And know that at any point in this class that you need to modify, change, do what works for you. Judgment-free zone here. And then the next time you come to plank, lower down to forearms. I'm interlacing my hands. So you can absolutely do this with knees down for more support. You can stay static. Or we're going to start to let the left hip drop to the left. So I'm going to sway on my heels. Heels drop to the left. And then hips back to center. Heels drop to the right. Back to center. Remember, static if you like. Or you lower those hips side to side. Try to keep the shoulders over the elbows. They're going to want to creep behind. You're breathing. Hips are rocking. And then come to stillness. Knees lower down. Puppy pose. Stretch the arms forward. I'm coming up onto my finger pads, letting the chest start to melt towards the ground, squeezing shoulder blades together on my back. So retracting here. And you might need to walk the hands a little bit more forward so the hips stack over the knees. Tuck the toes under. Walk the hands backwards. We're going to come into a squat. So, I'm going to let my heels come down to the yoga mat. If yours don't worry about it. You can let the triceps come up high towards the knee. Press up to stand. Go ahead, stretch arms up overhead. Keep the belly firm. Swan dive, arms stretch out to the sides. Hip hinge, fold all the way down. Halfway lift on an inhale. Find a little length in your spine. Fold. Crawl your way out to plank pose. Hold. Knees can come down if you like. Yeah, press your hands down. Spread your toes as much as you can. Feel your body here. Lower the knees down. Keep that tone that you had to keep for plank pose and stretch the arms forward to puppy pose. Fingers tented or not, doesn't matter. And you're only lowering down as far as you can stay in control of the movement. So if the shoulders start to feel like, ooh, I'm overdoing it, you probably are. So lift the torso up a little bit more. You can feel the shins press back behind you to kind of liven up the leg muscles. Feel your breath. Tuck the toes under, walk the hands back. Squat. Hips can be high. And go ahead. Press yourself up to standing. Stretch arms up overhead. This time grab the left wrist with the right hand, stretch over to the right. If it's interesting to you, you can press into the left foot a little bit more, lift the right foot up off the ground. Maybe just come onto the right toe, anywhere in between. Try to straighten the elbows. And go ahead, chair pose. Separate the arms, stretch them up overhead or bring them to heart center. Sit low. Use your shoulders to open up across the chest so you're firming your back body. Squeeze the backs of the thighs, squeeze the knees back. Squeeze the back of the knees back. And then go ahead, press up to standing. Stretch the right arm up towards the left. Grab it with your left wrist. Stretch over. Bend the left. Maybe you stay here. You really want to feel those inner thighs working. Maybe so much that you start to lift the left leg up a little bit. Neck long. Feel how the whole back body, all of those muscles that run along your spine, they all kind of connect. No, they don't connect, but they all lift up to your neck. Suppose they do connect, but get that feeling of lift, tone that moves all the way up to the back of the skull, to that occipital ridge. Go ahead, bring the left foot down. Arms come down, we're going to come to a low chair. So bend the knees as much as you need to so that your fingertips can come to either shins or mat. So my belly is right on top of my thighs. I'm going to stretch my arms forward. Sink the hips back. Breathe. Feel your feet. Bring the hands down to the ground. Crawl your way out to plank pose. Downward facing dog. Look forward. Bring your feet to your hands, as few or as many steps as it takes. Come meet in forward fold. I'm going to bring my hands to the crown of my head and hang upside down. You can feel hands and crown of the head press against each other. Sometimes it's just a good awareness. We don't usually feel anything against the top of our head other than like a hat. Halfway lift. Fold. Stand. Arms up. And grab opposite elbows. Balancing on the left leg. I'm going to step your right foot back to a lunge. Your right knee can bend. Try to keep left knee stacked over the left shin. Look forward, chest proud. Step your right foot in to meet the left. And then alternate, so left foot back. Keep that bend in the right knee. Scissor left thigh forward, right heel back. And then we're going to switch a couple of times. So go with your own breath. You can take a big step back, a short step back. Back knee is bent or as straight as you like. Finding a pace that's interesting for you in your yoga tonight. You can hear me step back like an elephant. Say 3 more times, both sides. Or if you're moving super slow, no big deal. You don't get them all in, no problem. Notice if a big back bend is coming in, try to knit those low ribs in. Anyone else have tired arms? Go ahead, stretch arms up. Pause, breathe. Hands come to heart center. You're gonna step your left foot back. Keep the right foot forward, lunge dog. So if you like blocks, use them. You're gonna walk your arms off at an angle. Keep bending the right knee 90 degrees. Press into the left foot. So it's like warrior 2 legs, downward facing dog arms. Try to get the heart low. Press the buns back behind you. Take a peek. Notice if that right knee wants to cave in. Like this, push it back. If you squeeze your right butt, it'll help open up. And then think about getting soft on the inner right thigh. Maybe even press through your right pinky toe a little bit more. Walk your hands down the long edge of your mat, wide-legged forward fold. I'm going to bring my hands out in front of my feet this evening and start to bend the elbows a little bit. If you'd rather be up a little bit higher, go for it. Squeeze the quads up into the belly. Outer shins in, inner thighs wide. So use all of your leg muscles to find a little lift and let the head drop. Go ahead, walk yourself back around. We're going to come into lizard pose. So for this lizard, I'm going to do left knee down. If you want to do left knee up, go for it. Turn the right toes out a little bit to the right. And that action starts in the hip socket. So you're not just cranking at the knee. And after holding your body weight up away from it, see if you can find a little softness on that inner right thigh. Breathe. Turn the right toes parallel with the edge of your yoga mat. So now the right hip, right knee, right toes all point forward. If this is plenty of work for you, stay right here. Otherwise, if you have a little flexibility in you, you can lower down right elbow then left. And find that spot where you are engaged in the pose, but the pose isn't taking over you. So that spot of, yeah, I'm getting some stretch, there's some work, but it's not too much, not too little. Maybe you even find a little squeeze of the shoulder blades together on your back. It's going to be a little bit different. You're going to scooch your left knee in, so you're about 90 degrees in both knee joints. You can stay up high or come down low. Press into the right foot. So it's pressing straight down into the ground. Feel the pelvic floor lift. And then come back up to your hands. Right knee comes back to meet the left. Downward facing dog. So extend the legs back, hips lift high. You can always sub out down dog for that puppy pose we did at the beginning of class, or child's pose, or hands and knees. Look forward to the top of your yoga mat. Bring your feet to your hands. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Bend the knees as much as you need. Fold. Press into the feet. Sit bones lift up. Notice where you're holding on to any tension. Can you let go maybe what's in the upper body or the face? Halfway lift it, lengthen the spine. Press into the feet, come all the way up to standing, arms up overhead. Hands come back down. All right, lunge dog, opposite side. I'm gonna turn. You don't have to. So you'll do right foot back, left foot forward. Bend the left knee deeply and walk your arms off at an angle. So find that spot where you can settle in. Widen the sit bones behind you. Bend deeply into that left knee. Stretch long through the arms. Take a big inhale. Side out the mouth. Try to soften the inner left thigh as you tone the outer left thigh. So hugging of the left glutes. Gently walk yourself around, wide-legged forward fold. I'm going to bring my hands to the outer shins, thumbs next to my pointer finger, and fold myself in. Find a halfway lift here. And then walk yourself around towards your left foot. Switch, you don't have to. And lizard pose. So left toes turn out. My right knee is down, but my right hip is not dropping over towards the right. You're still trying to find some squareness in the hips. Press into the left foot. Feel how toned or not toned the outer left leg is. Feel your breath. I heard a quote the other day that you can never do the same yoga pose twice. If you think you've done the same yoga pose twice, you're not paying attention. Feel this pose. And then rotating in the hip socket, turn the whole left leg, so left hip, left knee, left toes point forward. And you can stay up high. You can come down to blocks or the ground with bent elbows. Press into the left foot, widen the left thigh to the left. So same way you just did in your lunge dog. And you're not going to move your legs yet, but it's as if you could hug your left heel and your right knee into kiss. Which might cause a little bit of shaking on the back of that left thigh. That's what's happening in my body. And then, any arms you like, the yoga mat might come with you. Bend the right knee so it's under the right hips. You'll have to shush the right hip forward. Keep pressing down into the left foot and peeling that left heel back like you're going to draw your yoga mat backwards. Neck is long. Notice when it might be shaking or ready to jump out of this pose. What might feel nice. Feel your breath in the pose. Plank pose. And make your way onto your belly so you can come through tricep push-up or knees, however you want to get there. Bring your hands by your low ribs. Draw the shoulder blades together on your back, collarbones broaden left and right. Tone the triceps. Feel your tailbone move straight down towards the yoga mat. Pinky toenails down. Go ahead, press yourself back up. Downward facing dog. Look forward, lower the knees down to the yoga mat. Cushion your knees if you like. We're going to do a runner's pose with a bonus IT band stretch. So, balancing on the right knee, do left leg forward. So you're in a half split. Find a nice long back here. So sometimes what we do is we round the back because we try to get closer to the leg. Kind of looks like this. See if you can find a nice hip hinge. Isometrically drag the left heel back. And then from here you're going to walk your hands over to the left. And if there's no sensation on the outer left leg, maybe you walk your hands a little more to the left. Go ahead, walk your blocks back in, bend the left knee, scooch the right knee back a little bit. Turn the left toes out to the left a little bit. I'm going to keep my hand up on a little bit of height. Not necessary, but it's nice because it's here. And then take a couple of big arm circles with that left arm. Keep pressing into the left foot. The next time the left arm sweeps back, keep it there. All right, little tricky. You're gonna bring your right toes up so they could kiss the left arm and then lower it back down. So it might feel like a little bit of hamstring cramping. Squeezing all the muscles on the back of the right thigh. Maybe you just lift it and hold it for a second. You're breathing. And then next time, lift it up. Catch it with your left hand if you can. active right ankle, broad toes on the right foot. So what happens a lot of times is my ankle wants to like sickle, like turn in like that. Try to keep one nice long line. And slowly unravel. Plank pose. Lower onto your belly. Roll the collarbones broad, elbows back, cobra pose. Squeeze the inseams of the legs together, stretch them back towards the short edge of your yoga mat behind you. Tuck the toes under, come to hands and knees. Right leg forward. Half splits. Ooh. Back of the right thigh still feels a little bit crampy from those hamstring curls. Feel the sit bones move back behind you. Press the right heel down and into the yoga mat. Isometrically drag it back. So really pull the right quads into the pelvis. And rebend that right knee. Turn the right toes out to the right a little bit. Left hand on some height if you like. And then a couple times just sweep the right arm around. Be cognizant of the left shoulder. If you're putting a lot of weight on it, you probably want it to be externally rotated and not caving in. So think broad. Next time the right arm sweeps back, keep it there. And if this is good for you, stay right here. Otherwise, start to tap left toes to the right hand or wrist or wherever it lands. And maybe the left toes only lift up an inch or two off the ground. That's okay. If you're a yogi, you might not have very strong hamstrings. We stretch them a lot. Keep pressing firmly into the right foot. Should take a little weight out of that left leg. Next time the left toes lift up, maybe you catch and squeeze in. You can bend the elbows a little bit too, if it's a pretty easy clasp. Now keep hugging left foot in towards left glute, right heel in towards the pelvis. Trying to close the gap between left hip and left knee. Or, I'm sorry, left hip and left ankle. And then slowly unravel. Downward facing dog. Might feel nice to have straight legs. Press down and forward with the hands. And then put more weight into your heels. All right, I'm gonna get rid of the blanket. And then we're gonna do a short pigeon. So come down to your knees. Bring your right shin on a pretty generous diagonal with your yoga mat. I'm gonna keep the back knee bent. Hands come up to your hips. Scissor the legs in towards one another. So right shin back, left thigh forward. If you like, interlace the hands at your low back, stretch the arms down, collarbones broad. It's kind of odd. Still trying to find a little bit of squareness in your hips. They probably won't be perfectly even. Hands come down to the yoga mat. Switch. Do you want a down dog in between? Go for it. Bring that left shin pretty on a generous diagonal angle with the front of your yoga mat. Right shin down on the yoga mat. You can press the right toes back a little bit. Your hands up to your hips. If you like, you can do arms up overhead. Squeeze the legs in. It should be awkward. If you have a big back bend coming in here, try to draw navel back, get longer. Feel your breath. Find length in the spine. Down dog. Look forward. Step your left foot by your left thumb. You're going to scooch the right foot in just enough so that your right heel can come down to the yoga mat. Hands on blocks if you like. Squeeze the left hip in towards the right. We're going to come into revolved triangle. So left hand can come to the left hip. Start to rotate. I'm going to zhuzh my right foot out to the right a little bit so I have a little more space. Still a little bit of a calf stretch. And you can bring your right hand to a block or the outside of your right ankle and then lift the left arm up. Big rotation. Big wingspan. Squeeze the hips in, open up across the chest. If you have a tendency to lock out your left knee, soften it just a little bit. Gently unravel yourself. Look forward. You're going to keep balancing on your left foot. Come to stand on the left leg, right knee lifts up, and then standing pigeon. So right ankle crosses left thigh. Sit the hips back in space. Go ahead, come to standing. Balance on the right foot. Left knee up. Left ankle over the right thigh. Sit the hips back. Active through the left foot. So you're really flexing the left toes here. And then slowly step the left foot back to the back of your yoga mat. Find that spit stance where your left toes can turn out a smidge. Fold over the legs. So it starts off like a pyramid pose. You have about a hip's distance between the feet. All right. Right hand to the right hip, long from tailbone to crown of the head. So you're trying to rotate to the right. You want your spine to be an unbroken line. So it'll curve, but you don't want all the bend to happen in one part. So left hand can come to the ankle. Inside or outside of the left ankle on a block is good too. Rotate to the right. Squeeze the hips in towards one another. So sit bones move backwards, and then go ahead, lift your right arm up, if you like. Difficult to talk and twist at the same time. Long wingspan. Squeeze the hips in, long across the back body. Go ahead. Unravel yourself. Step the left foot back to meet the right, down dog. walk your hands and feet in towards one another. So you meet about halfway in the center of your yoga mat. You're going to do, let's just forward fold. Deep forward fold. So if you want to bring your hands to your calves and hug yourself in close, do that. Press down into the balls of your feet and the heels to straighten the legs. Halfway lift. Keep all that good work in the legs. Hands come to the hips. Go ahead and stretch yourself up to standing. I will do one more thing. I learned this one over the weekend. So, we'll do one more thing before we go back to hips. What you're gonna do, you might want hands on something. You're gonna balance on your left leg. You bring your right knee to start at the top of your calf. And you're gonna massage your left leg with your right knee. So go slow. I'll show you really quick what it looks like from top to bottom. But we're gonna go slower, so it should be pretty uncomfortable. So you're starting in the center of that calf muscle and drawing your right leg, your right knee, all the way down. Fun, right? And when you get to the bottom, you'll switch sides. So balancing on the right leg. Left knee comes to the top of the right calf. And then slow, almost like you're foam rolling, start to drag that right knee down the center of your calf. You can let your left toes touch if that helps you dig in there. Feel your body in these uncomfortable places. How does it react? Ooh, that spot like right after it gets under the medius part of the calf. Yeah, all right. Go ahead, fold forward. Shake the head, yes and no. Halfway lift. Down dog. Right leg lifts up in the air behind you. Bend the right knee, open up the right hip. Flex the right foot. You're pressing your right foot to the left. Try to square the torso with the yoga mat. Look forward. Right foot comes by the left, behind the left wrist. So pigeon pose. Right knee behind the right wrist. Stay upright. Just like you did in all your standing poses, roll and tone the outer right hip. Soften the inner right thigh. You can stay right here or quad stretch. Left heel curls in towards the left glute. You can either hook elbow around the left toes and stretch the right arm up. Maybe you grab hands and press the head back into the arms. And if I just ruined your pigeon pose and you want to do it some other way, go for it. But it might actually be easier than that standing short version we did before. And go ahead, release. Down dog. Shake the head yes and no. Sway the hips a little if you like. Maybe pedal out the knees and the ankles. Left knee behind the left wrist. Left ankle behind the right wrist. Walk the right foot back. Right toes can be pointed or flexed. Just bring some muscular energy to that right leg so it's still a part of the pose. Wherever you are, you're toning the outer left leg. Try to soften the inner left thigh. If this is enough for you, there's already a lot happening here. Stay here. Otherwise, look back. Right heel in towards the right glute. And bring your elbow crook to the right toes. Try to square the chest forward. Lift the left arm up. Bend the left elbow. Hands clasp, or they don't, but if they clasp, you can let your back of the skull press into the arms. And it might actually help, it seems counterintuitive, but if you squeeze the right hamstrings and press the right foot away from you, it might let you get a little bit deeper into the pose. Trying to keep left knee wider than the left hip. And slowly release. And come around to seated. And feel just like we did earlier in class, crown of the head stacked over the chest, stacked over the hips. Notice breathing in. Notice breathing out. Go ahead, come onto your back. And walk the feet as wide as your yoga mat. Cactus your arms, so bent 90 degrees. And just let the knees windshield wiper left and right a few times. Can go slow or fast. When that feels about even for you, left and right, or like you got what you needed out of it, you can go ahead, extend the legs up towards the sky. You keep your arms in cactus so you get a little chest opening. Notice here how much tension you are or are not holding in the neck. Feel the curves of your spine against the ground. Bend the knees. Bring your hands to both, like left hand to left knee, right hand to right knee. And then start to let the thigh bones move around in the hips a couple of times. Like spoons in a mixing bowl, I guess. And you can move them in opposition, or you can move them both thighs parallel with one another. Might be a nice low back massage. And eventually let both feet come down to the yoga mat. Get really proud in your chest. Let the arms come down by your sides and then extend one leg at a time. And rest. I'll stay here. So I'll let you know when class is over, if you're on a schedule. Notice breathing in. Notice breathing out. If you're on your back, you can start to roll to one side. And gently press yourself up to seated. And feel your body exactly as it is right now. Notice if anything stands out as important to you. And is that information enough, or is there something you need to do with that awareness? Thank you all for taking an hour out of your evening. The light in me honors light in each and every one of you. Namaste.